Now, yeah, the next question is explain me the status code in detail. This is one of the favorite interview questions which will be asked. So many of guys I have interviewed, right? So basically they tell 200 is nothing but success, 2xx is nothing but successful response, 3xx is redirection, 400 is nothing but you can say client side errors, 500 is nothing but server side errors. So they tell me that, and it's and they shut down. That is wrong, right? Once an interviewer asks you what is 2xx, you need to explain them and why there is a 200, 201. You need to explain them in detail, right? So I'll be explaining. So I've quickly created a service which is this, and I've hosted on localhost 3000 port. Now if I run this, right, yeah, if I refresh the page, I'm getting a books call over here. So this books is a nothing but a get endpoint over here. So this is my, you can say, base URI, and this is my endpoint API/books, and this is the HTTP method over here. And once the book is fetched, right, so it responds with 200 OK. So I got a success response on fetching the books. Now the response is in the form of JSON over here. So this is nothing but 200. Now comes 201 response. So whenever we create something on the server, right, so we'll get a 201 response. So if I hit the endpoint API books with the request body, and if I hit enter, so as you can see, title and books are required. So I just, yeah, title is there, and I will type title YouTube learning, and if I hit post, as you can see, 201 that is created. So whenever a new record is created onto the server, then you will get a 201 status code. And if I go to the front end and if I refresh the page, as you can see, YouTube learning has been created over here. So this is 201. 204, no content. Whenever the request is success, but there is nothing to be written by the server, right, in the response body. So then the server just returns a status code 204. Like a delete is there. When a delete record is done, so delete will return a 204, no content. Put patch, whenever we update the resource, so we'll get a 204 or a logout. If you hit the logout API, we just log out, right? It will not give you anything in the response body, right? So that is 204. 300, 3xx is nothing but redirection. 302 found. So the requested resource has been moved permanently to another location. This is one of the frequently asked, like you can say, status code. 4xx, client side errors, that is bad request. Now I have this, right, and if I just remove the title from this, and as you can see, this is a bad request. Like title and authors are required. So whenever we do something, whenever you hit an API with the contents which are not into the request body but are mandatory, then we will get a 400 bad request over here. So I'll just remove this and control Z, and I will do Aniket SDET learning over here. So this is how you simulate a 400 bad request. Now comes to the next part is 401 unauthorized. Basically use a token of another user, and like there are users A and user B. Whenever you trying to access something like an order history of user A, using the users B token, then you will get an unauthorized. So that is not a thing, right? So that will that is not allowed, right? So basically you should get a 401 unauthorized error. Payment required 402, 404 not found, 404 not found. If I come and if I simulate the response over here, yeah. So if I do an endpoint like books, I put an end, 404 not found. Requested endpoint is not present over here, right? So if the endpoint is not present, you will get a not found over here basically. And if I get a books, and if I press something like 00, and if I hit, as you can see, the requested resource is not found. So we'll get a 404 not found. Now I have explained this. 403. 403 forbidden. Forbidden means you have the token, that is correct, but you don't have the access to use it. Access to update the DB or delete the DB record. DB record, not the DB record. So yeah, so 403 is there. 429, too many requests. Whenever there is a rate limiting concept over here, right, in too many requests. So suppose like there is a buffer of like you can say 5 seconds or 10 seconds. In that 5 seconds, a client can request only for like 3 attempts or 4 attempts. If you do multiple attempts, right, if you hit the request multiple times, then you should get a 429 request. This I have explained it into the later section in the document. 5xx, that is nothing but server side errors. So I have just simulated the 500 errors which are there. If I go to server simulation and if I hit the error type is 500, I can get an internal server error, and that is 503. That is service is not available. So if the service is temporarily down, then you will get a 500 service error. 502 is nothing but bad gateway, and 504 gateway timeout. Suppose if a API is taking long time to execute, then you will get a gateway timeout error. So mostly these errors are from the server side.